that gives all those people who are just going to be pissed that they didn't make, bleeping pissed that they didn't.
Yes!
Welcome to episode 3 of the NotClub33.com podcast. I am Steve Rhodes, joined this week by Mrs. Becky Wells, Mr. Bobby Burchins, and his wife Amanda Burchins.
Hi.
Patrick Estad is out on assignment. He'll join us again next pod. Episode 3, guys. We've made it into our third episode. I mean, they haven't booted us off YouTube yet.
Which is surprising.
If you guys haven't noticed, Bobby and Amanda are in a little bit of a different location. They're not in Atlanta today. Where are you guys at?
We're reporting live from Orlando, from the Animal Kingdom Lodge, specifically the furthest room possible from the lobby.
The furthest room possible from the lobby, and Bobby and Amanda are in the same.
It is a tenth of a mile from the elevator.
Thank you, Apple Watch.
Can you guys combine computers?
Yeah, come on over. We try to be socially distant and adhere to Disney policy, but oh well.
Your own wife. Yeah. We're getting the feedback from the double microphones in the room. So they're at Animal Kingdom today. You guys, you guys had to deal with the virtual queue.
That is true. We did. We did not get a crack at round one. We decided to actually, vacation a little and sleep in. So we didn't make it to rope drop like all you nut jobs out there usually do. We instead got to the park around 11 o'clock, and because of that, we only rode, 3 rides or something?
The Tower of Terror, Smuggler's Run. Yeah, I guess we did just 3 rides.
Wow.
Those are good ones.
Yeah.
But we also wanted to explore the Star Wars area. I mean, we hadn't done that yet. You saw earlier, we bought lightsabers. That was kind of interesting. We walked through the Build a Droid place. That would have been much cheaper for me to build a BB-8. I'm assuming.
Yeah,
Probably.
But it was interesting because it was new. You wanted to take it all in. You wanted to absorb everything. This is the first time in God knows how long, because I still really haven't checked out Pandora all that thoroughly. So this is the first time in a long time that I've been excited to actually see something new and different in Disney.
Well, I'm glad you guys got a chance to take it all in. Becky, you were there last the week prior, and didn't get so lucky.
Not quite. You guys are. I mean, that's impressive that you didn't even try at the 10 o'clock and made it in at the 2. I was absolutely prepared both times, and the first time there was just not a chance. And at 2 o'clock, it made me select myself as my party. So it showed up as nobody and made me select myself, and then flip the screen to the next thing, and then all of a sudden it glitched and then gave the orange thing at the bottom that you did. I'm like, oh, all right. So I didn't.
So here's a question for you: what day of the week did you try to do this on?
I was there on a Wednesday.
Oh.
Okay, so we're recording on a Friday. We got on to boarding number 77
Awesome.
of the ride, but also what went along with that was a very different queue experience than I think Steve had, because otherwise he would have shown this left and right. We actually had to exit the building and go around a queue. Yeah, backstage.
Yeah.
And go around to where the Muppets queue is, and then they traversed us back into the building that way. So the queue line was longer, and I'm wondering if because today's a Friday, they have a technically higher capacity than they would on a Wednesday, and because of that, maybe they can take more on.
Well, my journey on Rise of the Resistance was actually filmed on a Saturday. but it sounds like Group 77. You said, was that a backup boarding group?
Yes. it
Okay,
was.
see, I was an actual boarding group, so you were in an actual queue where they're just like, okay, we're calling all backup boarding groups. If you get on, you get on.
Okay.
Whereas mine was like, you got an actual boarding group, show up at this time. It's a little different.
Okay.
I will say that. So I was at Magic Kingdom last Friday, and Friday Magic Kingdom, and the way that they set up their random extra overflow queues everywhere, and the way that they did that on Saturday was totally different. It was a giant cluster on Friday everywhere I looked. Like, they didn't have a clue what to do with the people that were in line. It was just some going this way, some going that way, everybody right up on each other for all the Rivers of America, just everywhere for Haunted Mansion, like everywhere. And then when I walked back past it in the evening, and I did ride because there was like a 15-minute wait, they had ropes, they had everything more specific. And I was like, huh, they clearly have been dealing with more than they were used to dealing with. So I wonder if they just got a couple adjustments. They're like on the fly, like, we got to figure this shit out.
They've started keeping the parks open later on Fridays and Saturdays.
Yeah. It was open till 8, so that was awesome. But like midday was like disaster town. I was like, I'm not going to be over in this area, thank you. So, but
How was the crowd level when you were at Magic Kingdom? Did it feel more like a regular day?
I'd say it was pretty regular. There were definitely parts that were more open and less people. And everything was constantly moving. Like, I wasn't waiting more than a minute on any one spot, even if the line was really long. Like Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger spin was, or Astro Blasters. Which one is it at Disney World versus Land?
Space Rangers.
Space Ranger spin.
Okay. Must be the other one at Disneyland. Sorry.
It's all the same.
Yeah. So, but that queue was crazy. I got in the line like you're about to get in the regular line, and it takes you all the way back in through the entire queue for the last floor and back out, and then back over toward Carousel of Progress and back like where Buzz Lightyear used to meet you, then comes looping back, then uses the whole indoor queue. I mean, I was walking the whole time, but I was like, oh, where the hell am I? What ride am I going on? It was crazy. I could not, and I rode that 3 times in 2 days. And it was never that whole distance except for once on Friday. But it was just like, where am I just going to end up on like Splash Mountain in 5 minutes? I'm not sure what's happening.
They don't really have a choice when you have to keep the 6-foot distance. You know, they're queuing you like, we'll just run this queue back over to Stitch's Great Escape across the way and block you. Like, what are they going to do? Yeah.
I have a note about like a theory about that, but we can come back to it if we want to like talk about the board.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So a lot of people keep complaining about like not having enough food open, not everything being open. This is my take, but it seems logical. I don't think they can manage having any more of these things open because these queues are going past them. There's nowhere for any guests to go to those restaurants because they would have to then like cross this other line and there'd be no distancing for either. And then when people come out with their food or try to sit and you've got people like, I think that's a huge reason why so many of these places are not open for food, for quick service, the carts, all that. There's nowhere for people to be to use those if people are in line. And I don't think anybody's putting that together, all these people who are complaining. If you walk around once, you see it and it's like, well, it's a good thing that's not open because it would never work to have both.
Well, and to jump on top of that, I mean, you've got a different situation now for Disney. So Disney, when I was walking around Magic Kingdom earlier in the day, one thing could have been packed. You know, Peter Pan is a 2-hour wait, and then you go in the last hour of the day and it's a walk-on.
Yeah.
Haunted Mansion's a walk-on. It's just sporadic, and Disney doesn't have data for this.
Right.
So they don't know what to open, when to open it right now, and they're just kind of saying, "Yeah, it's open. This is what's open." And they say it's a 25% capacity, but they can't control all 25% of the crowd going to Fantasyland. At one time,
Right.
It just It's not something that's in the cards for them. They don't have the numbers on it because this hasn't happened before. It's unprecedented. So unfortunately, we just all have to kind of deal with these crowds that we can't predict, and you just kind of have to get lucky.
Yeah, they had that spring roll cart with those nasty freaking cheeseburger, whatever.
The cheeseburger spring rolls.
Yeah. But so that opened up on Saturday, like I think that was the first time it opened, and people flipped out. That line went. This cart is like where I think Club 33 area is, but like on the way into Adventureland from the hub. It's like
we're gonna mute that part. The Club 33 part. That's a bad word.
where people thought Moana was gonna go. How about that?
Yeah.
And so it went from there to the hub of people waiting for these spring rolls, and they had management taking generalized tally orders to make sure that they had enough food for this cart. I was just sitting there like with my own little snack that I brought, being like, nope.
They're okay.
But there was nowhere for people to go though. These people are sitting and eating and waiting in line on their little striped sticker in the middle of the walkway to the hub.
For two spring rolls for $11.
With pickles and cheeseburgers in them.
You know, I had those at Tomorrowland Terrace during the fireworks dessert party, and they were unlimited and free, included in
That's too expensive.
Yeah.
Free is too expensive.
They're not that bad, but they're for two of them it should be $6 Disney prices. At a regular, place in your run of the mill city, they should be 2 for $2.
Hell, if Food and Wine, they'd be 2 for $8, but
yeah, but $11, it's freaking ridiculous what they charge.
My point of that is just that, like, if they had those types of carts open as often as you think you want them to be, it would never work.
Shit show. Absolute shit show.
The only carts we saw at Hollywood Studios open were like the drinks. And even with, like, we went over where they have like the blue milk and all, and even that, they were like, you have to do a mobile order first.
Anything that accepts mobile ordering was the only way you could do it.
You have to do,
Oh, because that's Oga's Cantina, yeah.
Like,
Or no, that was Docking Bay.
Like across, yeah.
Thank God though they had a couple of carts open in the middle of the queue. It felt like for water. That was key to my hydration level. Otherwise, I may have died earlier today. There would have been a skull and crossbones in my place.
I got stuck in the queue at Slinky Dog, and it was right across from the beer cart, so it was quite convenient. Went over there, grabbed myself a lime soda. Was chucking down my line soda there. Made my passage of time go.
I'm so jealous.
I might have had a few too many line sodas at Hollywood Studios that day, but that's another story.
Yeah, my family.
Color me lime green with envy.
We'll work on it. Don't talk about me about parades.
Thankfully, I saw none today. It was wonderful. We saw a couple of stormtroopers.
Yeah, they do walk around.
Yeah, and of course they're asking one kid what he's doing with his data pad or whatever the hell it was. That's the only interaction that I saw with them. And then we also saw, not Daisy Ridley. She didn't look nearly British enough to be Daisy Ridley.
And Chewbacca.
So what do you guys think?
A 7 foot tall guy. Yeah.
What do you guys think about the change? We just had the report the other day of the virtual queue changing at Rise of the Resistance. So the morning queue is going to be 7 a.m. instead of 10 a.m. and you can do it anywhere nearby the park. You don't actually have to be at the park.
So that would have been killer for us this morning. I woke up around that time this morning, and we started eating breakfast a little bit, and then went back to bed. So that would have been cool for us to go ahead and know, hey, are we going to get a morning shot at Rise of the Resistance or not? That if we had a park hopper option, that may have informed us to go to a different park to start off the day. or it would have, with this situation, it definitely would have said, we can wait a little bit longer, hang out at the resort, take it all in, that kind of thing. So yes, that's much improved. Sucks for people who stay off property, but I don't know, get in a room at the All-Star. That's just as much as the Courtyard across the street on 192. So that's if that's what your goal is to see Star Wars, make that investment.
I definitely agree that it's. I think it's very, very beneficial to have it moved because so many of the people trying to rope drop are there for that, whereas they may have normally trickled in a little later. Now, I will say that a 10 o'clock rope drop is pretty crazy as it is for
It's
that
late.
park. Yeah. But I think that'll help in so many ways, and like I know. The people at the front, the cast members at the front desk at Boardwalk told me, if you want to change your park pass, just come to us and we'll switch it for you. Don't try to do it yourself because we can switch it without dropping you from the system, which like even day of if you change your mind. And that was cool to hear because I think in this instance, if you're like, listen, I only have until say 5 p.m. or whatever it may be, and you're not going to make it or whatever, or you will make it, then that could change your day. You could go somewhere else. And Josh and I were talking about this too, like that gives all those people who are just going to be fucking pissed that they didn't make it, bleeping pissed that they didn't.
Yes!
All right. That they didn't make it on there. They're not then screaming at those poor cast members who are just working.
Right.
They're going to have some time to be pissed off and cool down before they get there. And then they can try again at 2:00. But the time to, have a knowing one way or another before you even get in the park is going to make for a little bit less of a disaster for some of those cast members every single morning. And I think that'll be huge. So
Well, I'm going to circle back to what you said at first, though. That's a huge tip that you can change your park even day of if there's availability.
That's
so
what they
if you're
told
staying
me,
on property, you said at the front desk they can do this?
Yep. And so I don't know that it was
huge.
necessarily concierge. It could have been. I don't know if there was like 3 cast members at Boardwalk. I don't know. So it's
But
not
that's
like it was
the
only
play
one.
now.
Yeah.
But that's
so
the play now. You just make whatever day your Hollywood Studios day, you make that your first day of your trip.
Mm-hmm.
You try for the 7 o'clock boarding call. You don't get it. You go to the front desk, change it to Epcot or Magic Kingdom or Animal Kingdom for that day. Make your next day Hollywood Studios. Try again, and you just do this systematically until Hollywood Studios is your last day. If you don't get it, then you have to still go to Hollywood Studios and try for the 2 p.m. And I mean, I think that's a great strategy.
Yeah. And so this was, this guy is telling me this, and he was very clear of like, let us do it for you. You can drop yours, but you might not get back in. He's like, they has to drop you and may not realize you're gone yet before you go back in. He was super clear to do that. And I didn't have anything I needed to change up, so I didn't bother to test it. It wouldn't have done me one bit of difference on how I did my trip. But yeah, I mean, that availability though, almost every single day between now and like January 3rd, at least one park is blocked, and almost every day it's Hollywood Studios. Well, I think Christmas might be Magic Kingdom versus.
They'll both be.
Yeah.
But right now, yeah. And so whether that strategy will work right now and how many times they'll change things, who knows? But I don't know.
While we're still talking Galaxy's Edge, Amanda, I've got to ask you, what is it like to go into a Star Wars park with a man wearing a Star Trek T-shirt?
I don't think. See, I'm used to him doing stuff like this, so it didn't even faze me. I don't think many people got it because like we had one cast member say something to him, and that cast member actually I think is secretly a Star Trek fan because he made the comment. He knew exactly which Star Trek series his shirt was referencing. I did like it. He did stay in character as far as saying, you're a long way from Deep Space Nine. So he did stay in character, and I liked that. But he did, like, we ended up walking past him again, and he stopped Bobby again and was like, he goes, it's rare to find people like us who like Deep Space.
Well, you got lucky.
So, yeah.
Well, that's debatable.
The nerd voice that I did last week, that was actually that guy. He was a nice kid and everything like that. He was in front of the droid, the Build-A-Droid place. So if someone from Disney is watching, reward that kid. He's a good one. I like that.
It's called
And
Cast
only
Member
because
Count.
he's a Star Trek fan.
It
Yeah,
did annoy, but after our first encounter with him and we walked away, Bobby was a little upset because
Well, yeah, I wanted to piss off one of the Star Wars fans.
he did.
Like they had the guys from the do you guys know about the 501st?
I don't.
Yes.
Okay, so it's basically like a nationwide organization. I'm actually not going to trash it, believe it or not.
I have two friends in it, so don't.
Yeah, they did do a lot of charity work.
They do, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm not going to bash it. Okay, but they dress up like stormtroopers, and they go around marching in different parades and stuff like that. And whenever there's like a mass gathering, they try to participate in some way. But any sort of collection that they take is for charity. And there was a bunch of these people walking around, and that's who I was hoping to piss off. Was the guy that dresses up like a stormtrooper all the time. And had I dressed up like a red shirt, maybe I would have gotten maybe I would have pissed him off. But he would have missed me anyway had he shot at me. So I still would have died.
All right. Well, let's get to the segment we do every week towards the end of the show, and what's got Bobby mad today?
Scooch out of the way.
Oh, wait a second.
All right.
I think need somebody there that can actually rein you in instead of us trying to do it
this out.
across.
No, she can. She can pull me back by the collar or something like that.
You're just gonna nudge her out of
No, she's gonna.
Welcome to my life.
She's
Welcome
all
to
right.
my
Fine.
There
All
we
right.
go.
I'll hug her for support.
And not put
Yeah,
your pot out.
You got a couple of pet peeves from your visit to Hollywood Studios today. I'll just let you do your cynical Disney thing.
Okay, so there's two things that I would like to address. Now that the parks have started expanding their capacity a little bit more, and more of us are going back to the parks, I'd like to kind of reiterate something. We need to kind of pick a lane. And if you see a giant person walking in one direction, don't start gliding over to get in my way. Pay attention to where the hell you're going. Like, there's no reason to get in anybody else's way, especially during this time of social distancing and all of that kind of stuff. Keep your head on a swivel. Pay attention to where you're going. And this goes for people in line as well, because God knows how many times people were staring at their cell phone and didn't realize that the line was moving. God knows how many times people were standing just like wandering like a zombie in the middle of the walkways and just getting in people's way. And I get it. I'm addicted to my cell phone too. But we literally had 2% battery walking out of the park. Okay, but at the same time, if I'm on my phone, I'm off by a wall somewhere. I'm not in the way, and maybe it's because I'm a large guy that I realize that I take up way more space than your average person. So I'm very cognizant of that, and I try to stay away from being in the middle as a result. But maybe more people should get that sort of mindset and say, maybe I don't need to be in the middle of everything. I can be off by a wall and get the same cell phone reception. In fact, I can lean against that wall. That would be much more helpful in this day and age. That's just me personally. Now, the second one, and I mentioned, I'm a fat person. Steve, go ahead and put up the picture of me, giving the live long and prosper thing today.
Oh, it's already
I'm
been
not
up.
a slim man. No, put it up on this video.
No, it's
Okay.
already been up.
Right here.
It was
Right
up
here,
like 3
again,
minutes ago.
I want to reemphasize just how much of a fat ass I am. Okay?
it's
Before. Okay, thank you. Was that so hard? God. Okay? All right. So we've established this. I'm a fat ass, okay?
Oh.
I need to speak to my fat people a little bit here. Okay. There's no reason for you to get a scooter if you're just fat. Okay. You know what I don't want to hear is a beep, beep, beep in the middle of my park experience. Okay. And in no way were these people disabled.
You
In
don't
no
know that.
way. I most certainly do because I saw them get their fat asses out of the scooter to get on the ride.
They just might not be able to
So-
walk very far. They could have gout or
So
anything.
again,
Yeah.
I'm a large person. I understand the struggle. I do, okay? But my job keeps me in good enough shape that I don't have to get a scooter. I can sit down and rest. I can relax for a few minutes. But don't get a scooter. Like, for one thing, you're just giving us as fat people a bad name. Like, really you are. Because God, just the image of it makes me go, yep, I get why people make fun of those people at Walmart. I really do. But at the same time, like, there's legitimate people who are disabled who can't
Send your
walk.
hate mail to
Please do.
cynicaldisneyvideo@gmail.com.
Please do. I want all of it, and I will respond to every single one of them. And I will.
And that, folks, is what we call life with Bobby. And on that note, we'll let Amanda close out with our final topic. Go ahead.
I highly recommend if you have the Play Disney app, which you can get through the My Disney Experience app, and you go to Galaxy's Edge, use that Play Disney app. There's a lot of interactive things that you can do, and you can ask him, like, I'm wandering around, with my phone and that app, scanning the crates and
She was one of the zombies that kept getting in my way in the middle of the
hacking
line.
into different things, and it's like the Phineas and Ferb thing that was at Epcot, but more immersive. So it was a lot of fun.
I used the one in the Star Wars line a couple years ago, and it keeps you busy. I agree.
It does.
Yeah. Well, that's a good pro tip. And we'll leave you with that, folks, here on episode 3 of the Not Club 33 podcast. Still untitled. It says a title in the description. I don't know what we're going to call it. But thank you, Amanda, for filling in for Pat today.
Not a problem. Thanks for having me.
For Bobby, for Becky, I'm Steve Rhodes. Have a great day.